Hey everybody, it's your friend Robert Cohen coming to you today from my favorite place, Lexington, Massachusetts, as everyone knows that by now, I hope. I wanted to talk to you today just a little bit about the real estate market in general, because there has been, I'm sure, anyone who watches the news or listens to the radio or reads the newspaper, there is just a ton of information that people are being bombarded with these days over the last few weeks or month about how the real estate market has changed and that the pendulum is swinging from one extreme to the other. Well, the market has changed. It's not crazy like the pundits want you to think, that where prices are falling and the market is dying. It's not. We have an established market in this country where supply still is not meeting the demand that's out there, because we have not built enough houses in this country over the last many years. I think I read this recently in the Wall Street Journal, nationwide, we are probably short almost 5 million housing units that are needed to satisfy the demand in this country. If those additional 5 million units were on the market, then the prices wouldn't be crazy like they are. We'd have a normal market. You could have a couple weeks to look at a house and then maybe make an offer, pay asking price or less. But that's not the case. We still have a housing shortage in this country, and the market is definitely moderating, but it's not falling apart. We're not in '08 or '09 like we were before when the real estate market collapsed, because at that point we had overbuilt and there was just too much supply, there were not enough buyers chasing the supply. So today, where their buyers are greater than the sellers, you have that imbalance. But there is clearly some signs that the market is changing. You know, the Fed has had an awful lot to do with that, with raising interest rates from around the 3% level where they were back in December and January to about 5.5% where they are right now. That's clearly had a chilling effect on the market in a certain segment, because people's mortgages are now much more expensive than they were in January or December. But move this local to my market here in Lexington, and the Lexington market remains an incredible opportunity for sellers and somewhat for buyers also, because there are some properties that have been on the market a little bit longer and the sellers are starting to get anxious, and there's some price cuts that are coming. But if you are a seller, it is still an incredible time to sell a house in Lexington. The demand is far greater than the supply. I think when I looked at this morning, we have 34 single-family homes on the market in Lexington as of today. And a town our size, a healthy market, there should be close to 100 houses on the market, which represents roughly 1% of the housing market. We're nowhere near there. So if you are contemplating selling, don't think you've missed the window to sell your house. The Lexington market is one that usually stays strong longer than anything else. When the market has changed around the country and the trend, goes across the entire country, the Lexington market is one of the last markets that turns down when the market is going in that direction. But when the rest of the country, things start turning around, Lexington is one of those first markets that just takes off and goes higher than anybody else. And as an anecdotal evidence, when the market crashed last time in 2008, 2009, the average house in the United States was selling for a little under $300,000, I think about $275,000 in '08. In '08 in Lexington, the average house was selling for $650,000, roughly, almost 3 times the national average. In '09, nationwide, real estate lost an average between 40 and 50% of the value. So homes that were selling at $275 were now then going in the 180, 190 range or less in the rest of the market. Lexington market went from $650 on average down to $645,000 on average. So it lost 1, maybe 2% of the value. When things started turning around in 10 and 11, Lexington took off like crazy. The rest of the country took from 2009 until 2020 to get back to where they were. So the average house in the United States finally got back to close to $300,000 again in the year 2020. Lexington went from $645,000 to selling for the average price was this past year closed at around $1.8 million. So it increased a factor of 3. And the average house that's on the market in Lexington today, as insane as this sounds, of the 34 single-family homes on the market in Lexington today, the average listed price is $2,850,000. That's nuts, but it's supply and demand. The Lexington market still has incredible demand, and the supply is not there. So if you want to talk more specifics of the Lexington market, call me, text me. Happy to help you. If you want to get into more details of particular neighborhoods in Lexington, which are hotter than others, and most of them are all hot, but some are hotter than others, I'm happy to talk to you about that. If you are a seller, you haven't missed the boat. You have an opportunity to capitalize on what is an amazing asset, and people want it. And if you want to sell, give me a call. Happy to help. Be safe, be well. Talk to you soon. Robert Cohen.